Hey yo guys, how's it going? Tally here, and today I'm going to bring you round 5 of the Reddit non-meta tournament from my perspective. Today we're up against Thunder Dragons, which has historically been an awful matchup for heroes. Let's see how this one turns out, because again it's still not a great matchup. Overall though guys, before we dive in, of course make sure to like the video. If we get this to 20 likes and 20 plus comments, then we will get the next episode early. And of course guys, if you haven't already, please feel free to hit that subscribe button. Now let's dive into the match. Okay guys, so here we are in game 1 of match 6. Now this says Heroes versus Thunder Dragon. I'm going to hit play, and I'm not really going to talk about the game because they are going to do unadulterated Thunder Dragon things, because as you can see in the hands, I've got nothing to stop them. So I want to talk about how realistically and historically this has been a very difficult matchup for heroes. And I'm going to be real, my opponent's build was spicy, right? They had some legitimate good spice that I was really happy that I got to play against, you know, because it kind of pushed me and tested me in different ways. And you'll see the outcome of this. But it was a weird match. It was a weird match. And as I said, historically, Thunder Dragons have been a hard matchup for us hero players because of Colossus, right? But also, this guy these days, Titan, still is a decent boss monster, and you know, it can be backed up with like different traps, or it can be backed up with hand traps depending on the build. My opponent is playing a danger build, so they're probably shying away from hand traps slightly, but Titan is a good card. You know, it's very difficult to remove. Heroes don't really have a lot of non-destructive removal. We are literally just destroy everything. And this deck, their whole win condition is actually supported by our win condition. You know, we want to set up a Dark Claw, shut off everything by banishing everything. This is a deck that loves to have cards banished, so again that makes it very difficult for us to pull off our full win con. So it very much has to be that we get things right. Now in this instance, I'm going to be honest, I've watched this a few times. I think I could have played this one very slightly better, right? Starting off with they're starting off with Dragon Lord in our standby phase, so going into Shadow Mist, I got Stratos. I feel like I should have got Vion just for a safer play, because overall this does in fact lose to Titan, okay? And we set this up in a way that I kind of wanted to dismantle their board a little bit, but realistically I was just pushing for damage. I was trying to put them on a clock, and I didn't really have much of a plan outside of that. Then I went into our main phase 2, Dark Calling for the Bane. Pay attention to where I placed that, right? Do not put Bane in this zone against this deck, and you'll see why. And I decided to set one. Again, tried to clear their board. Titan just didn't care. They went and popped that. I know I flipped up, but that was an accident. Didn't pay the cost, wasn't negating anything. So they popped that, right? And now they're just going to continue their plays, getting the Chaos Creator. Again, another really good card for this deck. Getting a Dragon Matrix, which is a level 1. Sending Nemesis Flag. The Dragon Matrix is all going to get shuffled back to get Arch Nemesis Protoss, which by the way, pretty good card. And of course they have Relinquished Anima as well. So looking at this, right, they've got Protoss, they've got Titan, and they've got Soldier of Chaos. I'm not playing through this, okay? So I scooped, and we'll take it to the next game, which went a little bit better for me, but again, there's a lot to talk about. So I will see you in the next game, guys. Okay, so moving into game 2 of this matchup, again, it's not a great matchup for us because we are shut off from Dark Claw, and we're going to go first here. And they have Dimension Shifter, which is actually a really bad card against this deck. When I say bad, I mean it's bad for the deck. It's actually a really good card to play against heroes, because it shuts off our Shadow Mist, it shuts off our Graveyard, which we like. You know, we want Shadow Mist there, we want Malicious there. It really did shut off a lot of our plays. So realistically, all I had here was kind of, I wanted to shell up. If I could survive one turn, I would be fine, right? And that was all I needed, just one turn. So we have the Infinite Impermanence set, we have the Increase, which again can protect us and shell us up a little bit more during our opponent's turn, but I would prefer to leave it for our next turn so that we have Shadow Mist on board. Alright, but let's see how this goes. So during our end phase they do some more Thunder Dragon stuff, and just kind of getting rid of, you know, deck thinning a little bit, which ends up drawing them into Seamorg of Darkness, which by the way guys, if you don't know, because I didn't know, if you tribute summon a dark or wind monster, you can special summon that and it negates spells and traps, which by the way, Increase is a trap card right now. So again, that's just another thing that we have to consider, that we have to play through it properly. Alright, now thankfully for us, they didn't have too much either, right? So this is going to be a slightly slower game. and you know how explosive heroes can be. So they are going to normal summon twice, so we kind of caught that there, and they're just going to go ahead and attack for damage, which is fine. Alright, damage isn't super important. So what we did here was we impermanence their negate. Right now our increase is going to go through. We normal summon Shadow Mist and tributed it off for increase. Okay, so we're going to get a couple of things to go off here. Now, going from this, we get the Vion, we get an Adusted Gold, and it is our job here to not let this last any longer than it has to. So we're going to go balls to the walls, absolutely ham, and go for as much damage as possible. Now realistically, looking at our cards, right, they don't have Titan, so this is going to be a very quick win. We did draw into a second Malicious, which sucks, but we don't need it really. Okay, so let's keep going here. We've got the Dark Calling, we are going to go for a Bane, and with that we now have enough damage on board to effectively complete this. Alright, now they did try and go for the Dragon Roar, we had the lucky Ash that we drew, and this took us to game 3. Alright, a very good example of Hero's explosiveness being able to take out certain decks, but we are put in a position sometimes where we have to be very careful. Now let's talk about game 3, guys. Okay, so going into game 3, I'm going to be honest, it was slightly worrying for me, right, because they can play cards like Dimension Shifter. This deck can get away with a fair few hand traps. This deck is a huge combo deck, especially with cards like Chaos Space, which they have. Alright, extenders like the Chaos Creator, you know, extenders like, basically their hand is the nuts is what I'm trying to say. And our hand isn't. This was a really scary game for me, and let's see how it works out. Okay, so they're going to do standard Thunder Dragon plays, we're going to Ash that, they're going to Chaos Space. Again, they can play good cards like the Black and White Dragon, allowing them to go into different plays. They've got the Reproducus, which you'll see why they do that. Fortunately, that works out a wee bit better for us, they mess up their plays. So they're getting the Nessie, they're getting the Snake. Snake is going to allow itself to special summon itself either way here and draw another card, and they hard drew the Protoss. Okay, now in this game, Protoss is in fact going to be a bit of a pain. Alright, so Protoss, essentially, you call an attribute, destroys all of those attributes on the field, and I cannot summon that attribute. Look at how many heroes are dark. Now, we do have non-dark heroes, but the best ones are dark heroes. So they're going to summon that by banishing 3 different attributes. They did call dark, right? Which meant that they could not summon their Seamorg of Darkness, so they're realistically no real negates, right? But we don't have a lot here that allows us to win this turn because they've called dark, right? So we can't summon Faris, we can't summon Mali, we can't summon any of our other extra heroes except a Wonder Driver. We don't really have a lot in terms of plays. So we go for a super simple play, right? Stratos on field, Honest Neos in hand. Let them pass, okay? Now they're going to go ahead and get the Chaos Space, but that requires a discard. So they're just going to go for Battle Phase and try and push damage. Now we have the protection of Honest Neos in here, but again we don't really have much to stop the Protoss. So their Protoss is going to call Dark again, and we thankfully draw into the Infinite Impermanence. Now this is the game changer. Alright, so they came into the Dragonhawk, which does some things. I tried to Ash it because I thought they were doing the... I thought it was the effect that lets you basically mulligan, but it wasn't. It's a Monster Reborn, which is fine. Okay, so taking back that Ash can't do that, so they get back. Again, they are now pushing for a little bit more damage, and that's fine. Damage is absolutely fine. They try and go for the Phoenix, which we do negate just because in case, like, I don't know, literally just try to play it as safe as we can. So the Phoenix doesn't really matter. We've shut off that column, but they don't have any spells, so it is what it is. And then they go ahead and they summon out a Thunderdark. Okay, now with the Thunderdark, they're going to get the Dragon Fusion, and using Verte Anaconda, they're going to get the Fusion as well. So they're going to end their turn now on a Titan and a Verte. And I'm going to be honest, I was terrified because I was like, what's that card in their hand? Until I remembered to look at the log and seen that they added Thunder Dragon Fusion. So they don't have any quick effects in hand to trigger this big boy. It's very difficult for us to defeat though, okay? Got to have a big beater, and it can just protect itself up to 5 times. So let's see how we take this one, okay? When I say take this one, just how we play the turn. So we of course are going to start with Faris into increase into the best boy Vion, getting us a Liquid Soldier in hand. Okay, getting the Poly now, we are going to link into the bestest boy Cross Crusader, getting us a gold. From here we are going to Poly into the other best boy Sunrise, getting a Miracle Fusion. and we get two really good draws, right? So we have a Vion, we get a reinforcement of the army. We're going to ditch the Ghost Ogre because that's not going to do anything here. We're going to get the Rota for a Stratos, and next we're going to use Stratos to search out a Shadow Mist, literally just because we're looking for more pluses later on if we have to. And we go ahead, link those off into Dread Decimator for piercing damage, and Great Tornado. This is a card I have been looking to use for a long time. So good for OTKs. If you do not know what this does, I do not blame you. When it is fusion summoned, you can have the attack and defense of all face-up monsters your opponent currently controls. And this was the game changer here. So ultimately this decreased this to 250, which isn't important. Decreased this to 1600, which is important, because now we have Dread Decimator that deals piercing damage. But we're not done here. We are not done summoning. We're going to go and we are going to use gold to get the Dark Calling, to get us a Bane, because there is no way that I want this to last more than a single solitary turn here. So we are ending this now, so we are going for as much damage as possible. Dread Decimator is going to give Bane more attack points, 600 for all of our heroes in grave. And Sunrise is also going to give Bane more attack points, another 600 for everything we have in grave. So we want to take these guys out as quickly as possible. So we are Baning against the Verti Anaconda, taking them down to 150. Dread Decimator, the good boy that he is, dealing the final piercing damage for game. Guys, that is the most anime moment I have ever lived in my life. Thank you for the very specific, very situational Great Tornado. Let's take it to the outro. Guys, that's the video. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed that badass anime moment with that really situational one card. And now that it's out there, people know that it's the best spicy non-meta hero tech ever. Guys, if you like this video, please make sure to like it, please make sure to comment, and please make sure to subscribe if you haven't already. Of course, 20 plus comments and 20 plus likes will get us the next video early. As always guys, you have been amazing. I have been Tally. I will catch you all later. Bye.